Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at CBSE Class 10 Term 2 English letter writing format. So in the upcoming board exam, a guaranteed question is writing a letter. And we could receive one of these two types of formal letters. It could be a letter of placing order or letter of inquiry. So the former requires us to write a letter wherein we place an order for certain products or goods. And the latter requires us to inquire to a company or organization with regard to any event, competition, course, etc. So all the information will be specified in the question, and we have to organize and compile this data in a neat format. The weightage of the letter is 5 marks, and if we break this down, 3 marks are awarded for the format, 1 mark for writing skills, and 1 mark for getting the point across. So through this we can see that the format is very important and it accounts for a substantial proportion of the marks for the letter. So let's look into the format right now. It starts off with the sender's address, and we have to write this based on the information given in the question. Following the sender's address is the date. Be sure to leave a line between the date and the sender's address. And also the date follows a very specific format. So we have to write the day in numbers. So today is 10th. We write 10. Next we have to write the month. There's no short forms or numbers. We have to write the month as a word. So we can't write 04 or APR as short for April. We have to write the entire month name, which is April. And following the month is the year. We also have to write the year in its entirety. So 2022. We can't write 22 and leave it at that. So here's a suggestion to make your life easier. Since the board exam, the English board exam, is on April 27th, the date format for that day would be 27 space April space 2022. So if you copy this down, you'll be correct. Following the date is the receiver's address. So we have to write the address of the recipient. As always, leave a line between the receiver's address and date. 4 is subject. So the subject should summarize the essence and main points of the letter. So essentially it summarizes the letter and gives the recipient a brief insight on what he or she should expect. And be sure to underline the subject. 5th is the salutation. So we have to introduce ourselves to the recipient, and we write sir/ma'am followed by a comma. So according to the new format prescribed by the board, we don't have to write dear sir or dear ma'am. No respected, nothing formal. We have to write sir or ma'am. Short and to the point. 6th component is the body. So this is the juice or the meat of the letter. And I always like to go by BMC, which is beginning, middle, and conclusion. So in the beginning we have to introduce ourselves. In the middle we have to state the purpose of writing our letter and get into the specifics. So we have to dwell on the issue that we're facing or placing an order by specifying the goods or asking the questions that we have if it's a letter of inquiry. And finally in the conclusion we close by thanking them for their time and say something like looking forward to hearing your response. Lastly, we close the letter by writing the signature. So we could either write yours truly or yours sincerely. The format for this is also specific. The Y has to be capital. There's no apostrophe between R and S. And the word that follows yours has to be lowercase. So yours truly, yours sincerely. Depending on the situation, this could vary. If you're close to the person, you could write yours truly. If you're unaware of each other, then you can stick to yours sincerely. So now let's look at a practice question, and I picked this up from the CBSE Class 10 2022 Term 2 Board Exam Sample Paper. And the question here says, you are Samina Zaveri, Class 10, Gujarat. You come across the following information on a local library's notice board. Create your own board game competition. Create an educational board game and send it to us at Teen Toggle Games, Privatized Limited, 307 Satija Building, Colaba, Mumbai by July 2022. The top 10 winning board games will be featured on our international portal. Attractive scholarships for the winners. You wish to participate but require more information. Write a letter to Team Toggle Games Privatized Limited in about 120 words, inquiring about rules, scholarship details, and deadlines. Also about specifications for solo or group entries. So, as I mentioned earlier, all the information that needs to go into the letter is right here. And we just have to add a few words, give it some substance, give it a form, and be sure to write it down in the very specific formal letter format. So we're given the sender's name, address, and we're also given the receiver's address. We're given the purpose and the inquiry that we have to make. So in sequence with letter writing format, we start with the sender's address, and it has to be based on what the question is given, what's given in the question. So here it said Vadodara, Gujarat, and we also write a fake pin code, so it could be 123. It doesn't really matter. Next, it's followed by the date. So since we're writing it today, I would write 10th April 2022. The sample paper is from July, so that's why the date here is July 2022. But on the day of the exam, be sure to write 27th April 2022, unless specified as otherwise in the question. So everything depends on the question. You have to write down the information provided in the question and list it in the format. Step 3 is the receiver's address. So Team Toggle Games Privatized Limited, we have to write the company name, of course, and that's followed by 307 Satija Building, Colaba, Mumbai. Step 4 is the subject. So as I mentioned earlier, it has to be clear, concise, and to the point. So here we can just write inquiry regarding board exam competition. So for any letter of inquiry, just write inquiry regarding blank. And for letter of placing order, just write placing an order for blank. And here I underline the subject. Next, our salutation, sticking to convention, it's sir/ma'am, comma. And this is the body. So we have the introduction, beginning, middle, and conclusion. This is Samina, a student of class 10 from Vadodara, Gujarat. I'm interested in participating in the educational board exam making competition being hosted by Team Toggle Games. Before proceeding further, I was hoping you could answer the following questions. What are the guidelines/rules of the competition? What kind of scholarship will be awarded to the winners? Could you specify the final date of submission? Is participation confined to individual entries, or are we allowed to work in groups? Hope you can answer these questions and attach any additional information regarding the competition. Looking forward to participating. Thank you for your time. So I summarized the essence of the question and listed it in this letter writing format. So we have to introduce ourselves, and we have to state our intentions or our purpose for writing the letter. And then, since an inquiry, the best format for any letter of inquiry is to write these questions. And all of these questions were provided in the question. And lastly, we conclude by saying, hope you can answer the questions. Be sure to maintain politeness and respectfulness, and conclude by saying thank you for your time. So our final letter would look something like this. Obviously, we have to write the letter. We can't type it. But this is how it would look like. Sender's address, leave a line. Date, leave a line. Receiver's address, leave a line. Subject, salutation, body, and signature. So that's how our letter would look like if we brought all of this and wrote all of this down. Then we'd get 5 out of 5, undoubtedly. So that concludes this video on letter writing format. I hope you enjoyed. And until the next one, this is Nisha Doob signing off. Peace.